So, in one of those moments where you wonder if politicians just take turns on deciding who's going to be the biggest moron of the week, last week a UK Labour MP named Mark Sewards launched an AI version of himself. Just another day in modern Britain. Apparently, his chatbot is meant to help constituents talk to him any time of day. Except, small problem, it doesn't know who the Chancellor or the Deputy Prime Minister are. It couldn't answer whether Sir Keir Starmer was a good Prime Minister. It did not know who the monarch was or how much a pint of milk costs. And yes, before you ask, it can't even answer questions about the local train station or bin day. So naturally, I had questions, starting with, what the hell is going on? First of all, let me be clear, this isn't futuristic. It is boring and underwhelming and so embarrassing. Neural Voice, the company behind this, is acting like they've reinvented politics when they basically made a knockoff Clippy in a red tie. If your product can't tell me who the monarch is, maybe don't use it to replace a literal member of parliament. Mark said he knew very little about AI. Wow, you don't say. And maybe that's AI Mark's biggest crime. Not that it's bad tech, although let's be honest, it's less sophisticated AI and more I learnt to code on YouTube last week. No. His biggest crime is reminding us how little thought, attention to detail, or personality our MPs have left. He didn't even give the AI a voice with some spark, no wit, no charm, no emotion, just a dry, press release style monotone response. Imagine having the opportunity to design a version of yourself and choosing to make it with both this limited knowledge and this bland. And it exposes a really uncomfortable truth. Personal interaction is now considered optional in politics. It accidentally exposed how little our MPs actually believe they are relevant anymore. So when conservative pundits say how dystopian an AI MP feels, slippery slope, and yada yada yada, I just kind of think to myself, well, at least he's not pretending. Because we're missing the irony. This isn't the future of politics. It's just politics already is, but without the polite fiction that there's a real single human voice behind it. So let's not pretend that MPs are doing all their own work these days. You're not speaking to them, you're speaking to the brand. A composite image made from advisors, data analysts, donors, and yes, their social media manager. And in this mixed up world of ghostwritten speeches and recycled talking points, maybe MPs should start declaring who actually runs their thought processes. Not the party whip, but their personal assistant, their social media manager, and now it seems their chatbots. Because at this point, AI Mark might know more about Mark's views than even Mark knows. And to a certain extent, I kind of get it, because MPs are expected to toe the party line. That's just how modern politics works. But the individual voice of the MP used to matter. You knew who your rep was, what they stood for, and what made them different. But these days, if you step out of line in the Labour Party, you just risk being booted out. The Tories kind of tried letting MPs to think for themselves, and it just basically turned into a leadership game of musical chairs. So maybe AI Mark is just the next logical step. A perfectly neutral, always on message, zero drama little helper. The problem is she doesn't actually say anything, which honestly kind of makes him perfect for Parliament right now. And something that we should address is I would imagine Mark's argument is I have so much work to do as an MP, and this just helps me get more done. Okay. But your job is to interact with us. You are, by definition, a public servant. If MPs are overwhelmed with communication, don't replace yourselves. Fix the system. Add more MPs. Introduce a proportional voting system. Create better constituency communication tools. Because let's be honest, 650 MPs representing nearly 70 million people. It's like trying to run a customer service for Amazon with a team of girl guides and a tin can phone. It's not an argument for AI. It's an argument for representation that actually represents. And also, this bot doesn't serve the public. It protects the MP. It filters questions, avoids accountability, and wraps it all up in a friendly sounding voice that tells you absolutely nothing. That's not communication. That's deflection as a service. And if it's not even clear whether a human or a bot answered you, how are we supposed to trust anything at all? No communication would honestly be better than false communication dressed up like customer service. Because also, I don't think people hate tech. We love it when it enriches connection, but this is just another way to hollow out the human parts of public life. And this is where the performative nature of accessibility kicks in. We're being told this is about helping people, bridging the gap, but is it? Because it feels a lot more like political ghosting, but with auto replies. We keep being told this is about connecting with voters, but digital tools don't automatically make you accessible. They often widen the gap, in fact. It's like replacing a cashier with a self checkout and then still needing someone in a high vis to run over every 5 minutes because the machine's throwing a tantrum over a bag of pasta. Sure, they're fine if you're getting like I don't know, a lemon, but try asking it a real question. Suddenly you're standing there like a Victorian orphan, begging for it to accept your club card. And let's be honest, it's not even faster, just colder and kind of humiliating. But also, I should say this, who didn't say this to Mark, but I can't believe any of us want to be governed by a man who thinks any part of his job could be replaced by a chatbot. I want someone who can show up, sit down, speak plainly, tell me about the bins without asking me to check the website. We live in a time where connection is dying. Everything is being gamified, streamed, or outsourced. AI Mark isn't leading the charge like he thinks he is, he's just following the trend. Depersonalized politics, corporate activism, DEI by algorithm. A world where vibes replace vision and avatars replace action. If our leaders don't have a show up, listen, and act for my constituents mentality, then how can they possibly represent us? How can they fight for the best of Britain if Britain itself has been reduced to a mood board of buzzwords? In that context, replacing MPs with AI almost feels honest. Because as the job has already been boiled down to following talking points, chasing good PR, and responding with carefully curated non answers, well, that's just a job that a chatbot can do. But let's just have transparency. Look, maybe you think this sounds like a really cute idea, but we need to remember how these chatbots handle nuance. Because do we all remember when Elon Musk's chatbot Grok started praising Hitler this summer? Yep, that happened. And now we've got AI Mark, who can't even tell you who the monarch is. At this rate, we'll be lucky if the next MP chatbot doesn't start quoting Voldemort and calling it visionary leadership. But surely, that alone should make us question whether AI has any place as a public facing voice for real world decision makers. It's not just cringe, it's really risky. But it proves the point. Even the most polished AI can go completely off script when it's trained on the wild west of the internet. Now imagine this MP chatbot starts doing the same. What happens if AI Mark suddenly tells you his real thoughts on net zero? Or slips up and reveals what he might actually think about immigration? Who's responsible? The MP? The startup? The guy who gave Mark this brilliant idea? His social media manager? But even worse, what if the chatbot says something better than Mark ever has? If this is the future of politics, I'd really like to unsubscribe. I don't want ghostwritten speeches, brand safe options and opinions, and customer service in a slightly too tight M&S suit. I want real leadership with a heartbeat and a backbone, and maybe even a brain if there is one out there. So let me know what you think about this story below. As always, please have a think about liking and subscribing. It really helps out the channel. But thank you so much for listening.